Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors, your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors and Winston Chester. Glad you're here this morning. Got a great show lined up. Of course, I always get started with our weather brought to us by Haney Technical Center. Run by and check them out. Go ahead and get that summer schedule straightened out if you can, and take some of those courses, okay? Now, our weather today is going to be pretty nice. It's getting back up to 80s. I was telling Gail the other day, this has been the craziest weather this year. You know, March was the coldest month of the year, colder than January, February, or December. Here it is. It was May a couple of days ago. It was in the 40s, and here on the coast, it's just been crazy and all the rain we've had. But anyway, what I'm predicting now, it's going to, of course, I'm not a weatherman, but sometimes my guess is about good as theirs. But what I'm predicting, it's going to start warming up, and we've got a full moon coming up pretty soon in May, and we're going to have some really good fishing the next couple of weeks. So hang in there. Low tonight 64, water temperature is 72. The river readings, the Apalachicola at Bluntstown, now it is staying up there now. It went up, surprisingly. We didn't predict this yesterday, but it went up to 11.2 feet, and then it dropped on down, and it's dropping today on Wednesday. It's dropping a little bit, and by Friday night it's going to drop a little bit more. So the Apalachicola will be dropping for the weekend. So might be a good weekend. I'm sorry, Jeff. We got two. Let's get this straight. All right, that's the Apalachicola. Now let's look at the Choctawhatchee. The Choctawhatchee at Caryville, it's on the rise. We got one of them dropping, one of them rising. It's reading 8.4. I know a lot of you folks are go ahead and looking for the weekend, but again now it will be dropping by Friday. So both rivers will be dropping for the weekend. All right. Now let's see if we can get our moon phases in now. I forgot to do our Monday moon phases, and I was thinking I always like to do this at the beginning of the week, but we're going to do it now in the middle of the week. The full moon of May. Now it's a good situation to that we're in right now. We're waning on out. It's going to be a new moon this weekend. Be a new moon, so we're looking at a full moon on about the Saturday, the last Saturday right there of May. So if you can fish a couple days before that, you're going to be in really good shape. Okay, excellent time, full moon in May. All right, now take a look at our tide chart brought to us by Kent Forest Lawn and Cemetery, where caring counts. That's Rick Brudnicki and his staff over there, good folks. All right, our tide this morning, we're looking at a high tide at 8:30 and a low tide. We're looking at the low tide. It's at 6:33, and today, of course, is right there, the second Wednesday, and it's going to be a pretty strong tide with our 1.6 foot tide range this morning. Okay, that takes care of all our outdoor weather, marine weather, and all. And we'll take our first break and be right back. All right, welcome back, and welcome, Captain Rick Corley.
Good morning.
Good morning. Glad to have you. And I was just saying, going into the break, telling Jeff, I forgot to do the marine forecast. And it's sort of going to lead into what you and I want to talk about, right. This wind and all. Our marine forecast today is going to be west-southwest at 10 to 20. And, you know, we were talking, Rick, about, I mentioned it yesterday about some things to talk about today. The wind, this weather, this spring has just been just so the wind's been so strong.
Yes.
It really has, day after day. So you're a boat expert. What are some things we can look for and how it affects our boats and all? We know it can get really dangerous if we're not careful.
Well, one of the things that people forget about, they think, well, small craft warnings. What's a small craft?
Yeah.
Well, in definition, it's anything 65 foot or smaller. So a 65-foot boat can take a lot that a 26-foot boat can't. Okay, so if they're going to say small craft, it's really not a good idea to get out there in the Gulf.
Yeah. And see, most people think small craft would be 18 to 21 foot.
Yeah.
They think they got a 27-footer. Is
yeah.
Okay?
Or if they got a 40-footer, they think, oh, yeah,
yeah,
it's great. No, it's not. 65 foot and down is small craft. And like I say, 65-footer can take a lot. Now, some of the things you can do is when you listen to the weather, if they say it's going to be 2 to 4 foot seas, a rule of thumb that I use, and it works real well, is no, add them together. You're really going to feel like you're in 6-footers, whether you are or not. And occasionally they will be, because the waves will stack up on each other. And so add what you hear from the weather together. If they're saying 1 to 3, you're going to have 4-footers. If they're saying 2 to 4, you're going to have 6-footers, you know. and it's not going to be any fun out there in a small boat. Another little rule of thumb that makes it easy: take 10% of the length of the boat. Okay, if you got a 30-foot boat, 3-foot seas and down, you're going to be comfortable. At 20% of the length, you're going to start saying, this is not a lot of fun, because that's going to be 6-foot waves in a 30-foot boat. You're starting to really bounce around, and it's not fun. It's not comfortable anymore. When you reach 30% of your length of your boat, you're getting into an area that the wave height's nearly the same as your boat width.
Yeah.
Now, if you mishandle a boat, you could turn it over. And so those are just rules of thumb to kind of listen to. So if you listen and the weather says, okay, we're going to have 2 to 4, say 6 foot, and you got a 25-foot boat. Well, most likely a 25-foot boat is going to be somewhere around 8.5 foot beam.
Okay.
You're not going to be comfortable out there, and you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
So don't go. And that's an easy way to do it. And the other thing is, if you're fishing late at night with a moonrise, you're going to have a wind increase most of the time. Nearly all the time, especially if it's a full moon, when it comes up, the wind's going to come up with it. So.
Well, and another thing, too, and I experienced it this past weekend, and I'll talk about it later on another show, but I won't go into details, but I was in a situation where, of course, I was on land, but I knew the weather was going to be coming through Saturday, but then I actually got to observe it coming. It started on the east, but within a few minutes, it swung around all the way to northwest. Yeah. And I was thinking if I was way out in the middle of that Gulf in a boat and all, and had not had a weather forecast to anticipate that, you can really get in trouble.
One of the things we have that's a phenomenon here is people will go out and they'll be offshore 5, 6 miles, whatever, and they think, oh, there's thunderstorms up there, but the wind's blowing from my back. It's coming from offshore. It's not gonna, it'll keep the clouds blowed away. No. What's happening is those cumulus that are building, that's why the wind's going the way it is. It's being sucked into those clouds. And when you get that change in the afternoon around 3:30 to 4:30, somewhere in that area, you're going to get a change in temperature of the water and the land comparison. And those clouds that build to the north of us back over land are going to move down to the sea in the afternoons, especially when you get on into late July and August. And you get trapped because now you got to go through that weather to get home. Yeah. And a lot of people start going fast because they're worried about it. And that's the worst thing you can do is go fast. You might as well slow down and ride it out, and you're going to get wet. You're going to get rained on because you waited too long. When you get about 3:30 in the afternoon, if you got a big line of thunderstorms just north of the beach, start home. Because you're going to get caught in it if you don't. Yeah,
well, that's a good point. Okay, and all kind of effects the wind can have on the boats and all. But we just want to talk about that a little bit and to be aware of it. Be aware of it, even if you're on a river or lake. You still, those storms can kick in. Especially
a lot of times if you're coming to the dock too and it's thunder and lightning, that scares people, but and rightfully so. But a lot of people will hurry up and try to dock, and the wind's already picked up. Yeah. Too late. Just stop and stay out there and let it blow through, and then come to the dock after it's over with. And a lot of times the best way to do it is if it's really raining hard and blowing hard and you can't see that well, stop the boat, turn the stern into the wind, and just clutch at the stern. Because it'll weather vane. Most boats, the outboard's going to be your anchoring point as far as into the
most
wind.
People don't know that. Turn the stern into the wind.
Yeah, just turn your stern in the wind like that for docking if you're in the lagoon or in the bay, and you can't dock because the wind's too high, and you can't see a lot. So if you turn and just clutch in the stern, it'll hold up in that wind. Let it go through, and because most thunderstorms don't last but about 45 minutes max in the summertime. They're gone.
All right, good advice there, Rick. All right, let's go and take our break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. See, we're Captain Rick Corley. We got some pictures folks have been sending in to us, Rick. So let's get started here. This is Mark Howard sent this in. This is a nice redfish. Michael and Mark went Saturday, and boy, they had a good trip. Got several pictures here. Oh, look at here.
I bet somebody gonna eat that old dead fish.
No, that's some nice. That's a perfect size redfish right there.
Yeah, it is.
Good size. And Daddy got a speckled trout. Whoa. Good job, Mark. Mark's one of our sponsors now. Okay.
Little cheese grits and coleslaw and hush puppies and a big pitcher of tea. And
yeah, that's good. Okay, I'm going to go to a couple more. Let me skip over here. Let's see. We'll get this one right here. One of the things we're at the point where spring is here, and we really have a great opportunity to do some outstanding fishing. Okay, so let me see. Sometimes let me go back to my photos here. Yeah. All right, let's start on this right here. Anytime you get a picture now, send it to winstonchester5@gmail.com. winstonchester5@gmail.com, and I can put it on his iPad and show it. Okay, like I do have right here. And this is a good one right here. Okay, this is Richard Cockrell. It was too windy for him to go fishing. He said it's too windy to go fishing, so he fell back on. He wanted to fish so bad he went to a pond and went fishing at a pond, and took his grandson. His grandson caught his first catfish there. Good job. And that's a great picture. Okay. Tom Gurley sent a picture. He said it reminded him of his 9th grade English teacher. I don't remember who that was, but I'm sure. And Marcus Cowart has really gotten into pompano fishing. That's right here at Panama City Beach, folks. He just went out there, had a little bit of time off, and he got a surf rod set up and everything. And had some really good luck on their surf fishing. Good job, Marcus Cowart. He actually caught his first pompano recently, but he caught several since then. So be aware that this time of year you can really catch nice pompano.
Now I'm gonna test you a little bit in your book. You remember the boat called Seven Brothers?
Seven Brothers, yes.
Caught the largest catch of pompano ever caught right here off Panama City. It's 70,000 pounds in one day.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing. Back then it was $1 a pound for that fish.
And they all got good shares off that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And I saw where one of the last Williams brothers passed away. Ralph Williams passed away about a month or so ago.
Yep.
That was really was a phenomenal time in our history in St. Andrew when that fishing industry was going on. Got people building their own boats, and your dad got to see a lot of those boats.
Oh, yeah.
And you did too.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I decked on the Seven Brothers a couple times with Cam Williams.
Yeah. That's good. Okay, now we're talking about you said speaking of boats, business has been real good.
It has. I'm very fortunate. We've been really busy. In fact, that's one reason I almost slept in too late this morning. If you hadn't called me,
working too hard,
I guess. But no, we're doing well, and my new partner and associate Yates Adams is doing excellent. He has now got his all lines adjuster's license. And he is a surveyor associate with Sam's. He will probably be accredited by fall.
Good deal.
He's doing excellent.
And he's a big outdoorsman himself.
Yes, he is. He loves hunting and fishing. He does.
That's good. Speaking of jobs and all, I got a call from, I told you I was going to keep you informed what John's been doing. Our intern John, and he graduated Saturday. And I don't know if I showed y'all the picture or not in his cap and gown. He sent me several pictures of him in a cap and gown Saturday. Had all the family up, his girlfriend and her family, and a big graduation already. Graduated Saturday. Folks, he called me Monday afternoon. He was so excited. He landed a job Monday.
Cool.
So he graduated Saturday and landed a job Monday and is working, and I'll give you more details later from the way he explained it. Is a photo booth company. A lot of big photos, a lot of conventions have photo booths at the conventions, like Chick-fil-A will have it, and weddings have them, and he will be in charge of those photo booths in the southeast area, which is a really good job. And he said he was very fortunate to land it, but he was really excited.
Absolutely.
And I told him, I was telling Jeff before he came on, I said he was going to drastically cut down on his fishing days now. But, But he did a really good job for him. He's already planning on trying to come back down here as soon as he can. Now, y'all know how that will go.
I hope to get in one weekend, at least one day of fishing here in the next couple of weeks.
You going to try to do some fishing?
I'm going to try.
Good.
I hope I can.
What's your favorite kind of fishing?
I love to troll. I like messing with king
mackerel.
Yep. And well, not just king, but I love mahi-mahi. Dolphin is, the Dorado, whatever they want to call it. That's my favorite eating fish.
That is good fish.
Man.
Well, listen, you're going to have to send us some pictures and all when you catch them.
Got to catch them.
Now, have you, over the years and all, trolling and all, and speaking of boats and trolling, have you found on the engine, let's say you have twin engines, will you run one engine while you're trolling or run both engines low?
Either one. A lot of people will shut one down.
I've seen guys do it both ways.
Yeah, you can do either. If you're not burning that much with both of them running, and it gives you a little more maneuverability in some cases with both running. But that's personal preference.
Yeah, and I've never had twin engines. I just can't afford one. But I've always thought if you had twin engines, I'd want to keep both of them running on low. And like I say,
might as well. I mean, it's not that much fuel. And the one thing about it is, once you shut one down, there's no guarantee it's going to crank again.
Yeah, that's
it's
true.
a man-made piece of equipment. Most of the time they will, but you run the risk that, okay, now I've shut one down, it won't crank again. Now I got to come home on one engine, and it won't go very fast in comparison.
All right. Let's take our final break, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us this morning. Let's get started on this segment with our fishing game forecast brought to us by Mark Cowart. And today, there's only one time today. We're looking at 11:39 to 1:39. That's smack dab in the middle of the day. That's brought to us by Mark Cowart of Edgewater Beach Realty, 832-6000. So keep that in mind. If you take a 2-hour lunch, that'd be ideal. And I joke about that a lot, but there's folks that actually will take that, a little bit extra lunch and go down to the marina or go out to, if you live up close to a river or something, and just fish about 30. You can get 30, 45 minutes into fishing, and you'd be surprised what you catch, okay? One of the things we keep talking about, all the different things we're doing outdoors. Like this week, I've already had, fishing. I've already had, hog hunting, and there's so many things you do in the Florida Panhandle. And one of the things, I tell my students, it's just hiking, just getting out in the woods and walking around. It's a lot of fun. And if you don't have access to the woods, well, E.O. Wilson Biofeeder Center, they're going to have a trail day. I'm going to tell you a little bit ahead of time because it's going to be May 18th. It's going to be 10 to 3, and you can they have different age groups and all, or different levels of hiking. It's a large area out there. If you want to, all you got to do is just bring some comfortable shoes, bring a bottle of water and some insect repellent. And I always like to have a little walking stick with me. I used to do a lot of walking through the mountains and all, and I always had a stick.
I'll have to show you mine sometime.
Okay.
I got one that I got from the Indians out there out west while I was out there.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the next week, a week away. But then also we talked about this earlier too. The redfish roundup, next redfish roundup, is going to be this Saturday. That's all this happened over there on Western View and area around Freeport, both sides of Freeport. The Biofeeder Center is on the east side, and on the west side of Freeport is Nick's Restaurant. I mean, that's a great restaurant to eat, but over there in Basin Bayou, and that they're going to award. And listen, don't be. A lot of times you don't want to enter a tournament because all these big people are entering, but they're going to award 5 places on this, and you can be lucky. Luck counts.
Hey, you bet.
And you never know if you just basically catch a redfish, and if you know about
somebody's gonna win that.
Yeah,
and it don't always be the guy that supposedly knows the most.
And these are gonna be a bunch of local guys, and you got just as good a chance as any. And I know some Panama City people. In fact, 2 of my students are going to enter that, and so I'm excited for them. And I'm not sure when the weigh-in's going to be, but weigh-in will be exciting. So I'll talk more about this later on. But a couple of things to do the next couple of weekends, and also a bass tournament up at Lake Seminole this weekend. Now, Rick, we've got a few minutes left. What are some things? Tomorrow, let me go and mention this. Sure. We have Lieutenant Stan Kirkland on the show, and we're going to have some footage that you're going. It's just fantastic of all that big lizard they've been catching. And Stan has some exclusive.
I saw that the other day.
Stan has some exclusive FWC footage we're going to show tomorrow, so you don't want to miss that. Okay.
We're coming up on hurricane season, so if you haven't thought of a plan of what to do with your boat, now's the time to start planning and have a good hurricane plan, just in case. Hopefully we're going to have a nice, easy summer.
Yeah.
But you never know, and it's tough to make the plan after the fact instead of before.
Well, there are 2 things I always want to think about hurricane season. First of all, you have locals, and then you have people who just moved in. Us locals will get lulled to sleep after so many years of having really good seasons of not one close by. And then if you're from, if you settle in from, come in from another area, you just don't realize the severity of these.
Yeah, it changes quickly too.
It changes quickly. It can do some enormous damage if you're around the water in high wind.
98% of your damage from a hurricane is usually due to storm surge, and it happens within a couple of blocks of the water. So the people that got boats are the ones that are going to have the biggest problems.
Yeah. So go ahead, and that is good advice. Go ahead and be thinking in the back of your mind, what your plan's going to be, what you're going to do with your boat.
Yeah.
And go
if
ahead.
you can put it out on the hill, so much the better.
Yeah, right. Trailer it out if you can.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do that. These really big boats.
And a lot of these shipyards have hurricane plans for the big boats. They can haul them out and block them, and they fare better that way too.
Yeah. And Miller Marine up there in South
Miller does. Bay County Boatyard does.
Yeah,
Lighthouse Marine does. Pirates Cove. All of them. Yeah.
And the veterans and the guys that would, that've been around, they know exactly what. They don't wait till the last minute, and that's where a lot of times people do that. They go ahead, and if there's one out there headed this way.
A lot of these guys that have been doing it a long time got what we call hidey holes. They go back up in some of these and get their boat spider webbed in and ready to go, and they some of them ride it out on.
How's the anchored boats and abandoned boats out in the area? That we have more problem with them?
We still have the same old problem we've had all the time. Boats don't vote, so politicians don't worry about it too much till after the fact, and that is one of the things that I tried years ago. Back in 2005, I went out and took photos and made comments about it, and nothing ever happened.
No. Okay. So be careful. If you see a derelict boat and all, you don't want to get too close to it. And
it could be anchored with 2 concrete blocks. I mean, it ain't gonna stay anywhere in bad weather.
All right. Well, listen. Rick comes on once a month. He's the Panhandle Outdoors boating expert. He's all the years of experience he's had, and still going strong.
Yep.
And business, you said business is good as ever.
Best month I ever had was last month.
That's great.
Amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
That's a testimonial also of people getting ready to get things picking up.
Yep.
All right. Well, Rick, thank you so much for coming on, buddy.
Thank you.
Now you got to go get some work done.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
All right. And as always, folks, I tell you, I thank you for watching the show. I appreciate your viewership and your loyalty to our sponsors. And you be sure to do something good for somebody today. And God bless.
Thanks for joining us for Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester. Panhandle Outdoors features hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.